This is going to be a short but sweet video. It's just to change the oil in my Z3. Just a how-to, nothing fancy. If you're looking for modifications or some of like my other videos, putting engines that didn't belong in there, or sheet metal work, or fabrication, or fitting fatty tires even, this isn't that video. This is for you Z3 owners that want to do your own oil changes instead of paying the BMW dealer $1,005,000 to do it, and 50 cents, don't forget that, 50 cents. So this is do it yourself, change your own oil. That way even the most, or least, the person with no mechanical ability, regardless, if you've never changed your oil before, I'm going to show you how on the Z3. It's a little bit different on these BMWs. They're not your typical, change on the filter thing. You actually have to do a little bit of thinking. Not a lot, really. Just watch the video. As you can see, that's not going to work, so we're going to have to jack her up. First things first, we're going to pop the hood. If you don't know where the hood latch is on these, it's right over here. As you open up your door, you'll see right here, right in the door jamb, you'll feel like a little hooky thing, just a little black lever. Just pull it towards you until the hood pops open. And then, over in this corner, this little elusive, kind of pick it up a little bit, and there's a little kind of lever right about here. It's kind of weird in that spot, right? Just kind of lift her up, just like so. Okay? There's a little pad underneath the car. That is where you jack it up by. So you're going to kind of have to stick your head under here, and you look. And you'll see it. It's a little square pad. It's got a hole in it. And you'll notice it looks different than the rest of the car underneath it. And it's a little bit lower than the rest of it. So you just put your jack underneath that little pad. If you don't have a big jack like this, you can use the jack that came with the car. Just keep in mind that you don't want to get under the car on that little jack. Put this up here for lighting purposes. I don't really like jacking up a car on one side like this, but sometimes it's necessary. If you do jack the car up with the jack the car came with, make sure you put some form of safety underneath it. I'm going to use the jack stand. Now I'll be dipped. The whole car is going up. That's how well balanced these cars are. But I'm going to put a jack stand. You can use a wooden block. I'm going to put the jack stand under the front. Maybe we can get the back end to go down a little bit. Well, if I can get under here. Alrighty. The older I get, the harder this gets. I figured it was easier for me to jack it up from the center, since I'm going to be using the center anyway. And so I'm going to go up underneath the engine cradle here, and I'm going to jack her up right here. Now you may or may not want to do this. You can jack it up just like we jacked up the other side. Now I'm going underneath this piece of metal right here. because there's another piece of metal there that the rack is sitting on, and it's gonna, you know, it's not very thick, so we really don't want to put a lot of pressure on it. And we're even going to watch this piece and make sure it doesn't flex too much, because we don't want to bend it either. So I'm watching it very carefully, making sure. I've got the whole front end of the car up on it, and I think we're high enough right there. So we'll put the jack stand underneath it. Now I'm not going to lie, folks, I'm not big on working under cars without a lift. Just getting kind of old and don't really like crawling up under things. But actually this was what I should have jacked up on. I jacked up on this. It didn't hurt anything, but it is kind of close to the oil pan. So honestly, don't do that. Jack up on this big cross piece right here. She's a lot sturdier than those bars. So anyway, she's nice and clean under here. This car is in spectacular shape. Now your oil plug, I don't know if you can see that, but it's right here. You probably can't actually see it, but let me see if I can get you a better view. Let's try. I sure hope this video helps somebody, because it's really, really hard to get the camera in here. But I think I got an angle that y'all will appreciate. This is the oil pan. This is that cross piece that I was jacking up on. So you can't miss it. The oil pan's got it's finned looking, and you're looking at the side of it. This is the passenger side, and the oil pan's kind of finned looking, and it's a big square looking thing, you know. And there's a cross piece right here that is like crisscross. But really, technically, it's an X. And so right above that X, towards the passenger side, in the middle of the X, is where that oil plug is. So we're going to go ahead and get our socket on here. It's an 18 millimeter. And I'm going to try to do this. It's kind of small under here with the camera in the way and everything. But we're going to go ahead and... It shouldn't be real tight, although... There we go. In these tight quarters, it's kind of hard because I'm like... My nose is right next to the ratchet I'm pulling on. So if it came out a little too quick, I could have ended up with a nice black eye. And I put my jack stand right in the way of the oil pan. So what's going to happen is I'm probably going to spill oil everywhere. In which case I'm going to put this plug in really fast and try to come up with another alternative. Yep, I put the jack stand in the way. She's a little bit snug coming out. I don't know how many times it's been out. This is a 97 BMW Z3, so she's only got 70,000 miles on her, so she's like brand new. But she's, you know, still been around for, what's 97, 2007, 2017, you know, 25 years, 24, 25 years, so she's got a right to have a little bit of stickiness to her, you know what I mean? So, but she's in remarkably great shape. She did a lot of sitting around when I got her. She had been sitting in a driveway off with everything all moldy for God knows how long, probably a decade. So, boy, that's... Don't want to over tighten these, folks, because this is just really not... Shouldn't be this tight. She's just got some boogered threads, I think, and we're going to do our best to avoid letting that happen again. So make sure we don't have a... There is a little washer here, I do believe. I'm trying to get that little washer to come off with this here. We don't want to lose it, because that's what they call basically their idea of a gasket. Here we go. Okay, ooh, yay! And I think I heard that washer hit. Yep, I sure did. So let me see if I can scoop that washer. I'm gonna put that there, and I've got a little dirty here, but not too bad. There's the washer. Oops. Now I got dirty. There's the washer. That's, you don't want to lose that. So put that back on the plug, and I'm gonna go wash my hand because it's full of oil. The oil in this car looks really good. It's not super dark, as you can tell. It's a little dark, but not too bad. And we got kind of lucky on the fact that didn't miss. So I'll let y'all watch that drain for a minute. you know. Well, I go wipe my hand. Well, you can probably see that it's starting to get like little air bubbles in it, and it's breaking the stream. I forgot on this car, you may not want to go to where she's just dripping, simply because what's probably happening is where the filter is starting to drain out as well. And if you completely drain this system, you're going to end up with the car clattering for the first few minutes because there's no oil pressure anywhere. We're gonna prime the filter, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. But you know, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there, simply because I'm a little bit worried she may drain all of the oil lines, in which case we'll be starting dry, which is not a desirable thing. So that being said, we're gonna put her back in. Okay, because she was just dripping forever. On an American car, oh yeah, just drain her all the way. On this thing, these cars can be finicky, so let's just go ahead and, once she gets down to that small stream like that, just go ahead and put her back in. Yep, I don't know everything, that's for sure, but it's better to leave a little bit of old oil in there than it is to run it dry for any length of time. Now, I'm not going to tighten this up very tight. I'm just going to give her a little snug. And, well, somewhere. There's a rag here somewhere that I was using. Oh, there it is. And I'm just going to give her a little wipey wipe, because I just like to keep things tidy. Car's clean, we'll keep her that way. Look at that. We'll shine her a little bit underneath here. Oil filter on the BMW is up here. So it's in a canister. So you want to get, it's 1.5 inches. I don't have 1.5 inch socket, so I'm going to use 1 7/16 inch, which has a little play, but it'll get the job done. Just kind of gently, because it's a plastic cover, you don't really want to, you know, sock it down. It's got an O-ring. You just gotta kind of gently open it, but it's so big you can get away with doing that. And just take this off and carefully lift it. I'll finish unscrewing it first. And carefully lift it out. And as you're gonna see, there's a little bit of oil dripping. I'm gonna grab a rag real quick so I don't make a big mess. I made some of a mess already, but here we go. There. First thing we want to do is just make sure our filter looks right. This one came with a new rubber seal, and it came with that little washer I showed you on the oil pan. So if we had lost that, we probably would have been okay, because this came with it. But we're going to go ahead. This is real easy. You just kind of wiggle it and pop it off. See, this is pretty heavy, so you know she's got some crud in there. And we're just going to take this. There doesn't seem to be a direction that it goes, so we're just going to go ahead and fit it on there. Well, this one actually had a little lip that it gets caught on. This one does not. So I'm not so sure I'm liking this one very much. But we're going to go ahead and pop her in there, because this one's a little better quality. It's got plastic ends. They actually fit onto this cap, and I kind of like that a lot better. So we probably won't use this particular filter again. But the filter itself looks okay, but it's just not going to seal as good as I would like it to. So it's your decision whether or not. I had this happen once with my truck too, and I ended up replacing it after like 50 miles. I just wasn't happy with it. You can replace this O-ring if you want. This was still in really good shape, so I'm going to leave it, and then we're just going to go ahead and install this. Here's where your oil goes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of, oh gosh, a little bit of oil in there. Oh, that was tight. It's just a half a turn it up. And I've got a big funnel so I don't make a mess, but you don't have to use the funnel if you don't want to. You're a good pour. I just don't want to make a mess. Now, I don't know what they were thinking you got to use full synthetic oil. Oh, well, that wasn't good for it. Full synthetic oil. Doesn't really matter what brand. It's 5W30. Now I'm going to put some oil in here first. Oops, we got a little bit of crud in here we're going to clean out. I'm going to put a gallon of oil in here before I start. I always like to put some oil in with the filter, kind of get the filter saturated. So I'm going to pour a little in there too. But it just runs out if you don't have oil in the pan. That's what I was talking about earlier. Well, that you don't necessarily want to empty the pan completely till it's down to a drip. You might want to, keep just a tiny bit of oil in the pan so you don't empty all of the lines. But we're going to go ahead and pour some in through the oil area, the filter area, just for that purpose. Now I'm just going to pour a little bit in here. Whoop, oh gosh. That mess I said I didn't want to make, I just made it. So I'm just going to fill her up. She's not going to stay full for very long. So we're going to go ahead and, I don't want to put too much oil. This car takes quite a bit of oil. We're going to go ahead and stick the filter in there. You don't want to fill it all the way up with oil because the filter is going to displace some of it. So I fill it about halfway. But I like to put, come on baby, I like to put oil in this filter galley because if you leave it dry, sometimes she'll start up and she'll start dry, and you don't want to do that. So if you put some of that in there, get it started. I can't remember how many quarts of oil this takes, so please forgive me on that. I'm supposed to be telling you what to do, and I can't because I can't remember. And my ratchet's not working. Oh, there we go. Well, we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to snug this up. Notice I'm not grabbing the handle, by the handle. I'm just kind of doing it like a palm. I'm palming it. We're just going to, man, my ratchet's messing up. And just keep turning it till you'll feel it stop. And don't force it past that stop. It's got that O-ring. Now I just felt it stop. There we go. So I'm just going to give it a little snug up against the stop. And now we're going to check the dipstick. I'm going to have to get a little better view here. I'm going to get the dipstick, which is right here. I'm going to pull it out and we're going to check it. She's pretty darn good right there. It's right to this part here. It's not quite up in this little valley, but usually if you get it up in this valley, anywhere between these two is really good. So I'm going to leave it there, and then we're going to start it. We'll run it for a minute, and then we're going to check it again, because it's going to put oil all up inside of here. And I'm going to try to, maybe we should put that back in. Always wipe your dipstick before you check it. And I'm going to give myself a little wipe over here where I spilled a little bit of oil, even though it's just going to, it'll probably smoke and smell bad for a little bit. But I didn't want to get oil anywhere because it was nice and clean. But anyway, there we go. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Although I may want to open the garage door first, because fire in the hole! Did you hear how nice that started? Uh-oh, doesn't like the fact that it's home. There we go. These cars are real sensitive. Didn't like the fact that I had the oil cover off of it. So it started running rough because it detected a leak in the engine, the PCV system. PCV, by the way, stands for positive crankcase ventilation. She didn't like having that big hole open there. So, but you hear how it didn't rattle and it didn't make any racket when it started? That's because we went ahead and filled up that oil in that oil filter before we started it. So that allowed us to start her up without any kind of dry start whatsoever. So now I'm going to shut it off and we're going to recheck the oil. Okay, I shut her off, let her sit for about a minute or so. Pull this back out. And we'll clean her off with the rag. We'll put it back in. And we'll check it again. And see, she's low now. Okay, she's way down here. So we need to go ahead and add a little bit more. Bring her back up to here. Okay? So that's what we're going to do right now. And just for the record, I wanted to point out that notice there's no handle on the top of these jugs. It's here on the side. Okay? In the old days, they used to have a handle up top and on the bottom. Whoever the genius is who thought about doing this, you're an idiot. You can't grab them. You can't pick the bloody thing up. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So, for you idiots who designed this bottle, you're an idiot. Put the handle back on top. I just had to say that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the funnel back in. And don't forget to put this back in because she doesn't like to run without that in there. Oh, and I set this on a clutch. That wasn't too bright. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to guess we're going to need at least another quart, maybe more. So we're going to go ahead and pour another quart. I'd say, ooh, about that much. I'm just guessing. So actually what I would recommend is maybe going online or ask the auto parts store just how many quarts she takes, and maybe go that route. And then we're going to check her again. Wipe her off. Check it. Give it a minute to get down in there. That 5W30 goes down there pretty quick. Now we're to about here. So we need to add a little bit more. So let's add some more. And I don't care how many quarts, it tells you. You keep adding until you got on that level it's supposed to be at. I think it was like 7 point something gallons, to be honest with you. Why they do that, I don't know. But I bought, or 7 point something quarts, I'm sorry, my bad. And so I bought 2 gallons, and I believe that was pretty close to having what you need. Uh-oh. She's right up there now. So let's go in there, wipe it one more time. There you go. We're right in that nook. So that's just about perfect. So we don't want to add any more, but we are going to start her one more time and check it. And that should hopefully do it. Give it another minute, and we'll check it again. Okie dokie. This should do it. Sure enough. Perfect. Well, that's it, folks. That's pretty much doing an oil change on your Beaver. Next thing to do is just close your hood, make sure she's closed, and just kind of climb in and take her for a drive, because that's what they're made for. See ya. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like this video, if you don't like it, don't watch it.